Alright guys, so ultra-marathon runner, ultra-distance cyclist, triathlete, and retired Navy SEAL David Goggins just came out with a second book of his own called Never Finished. I actually just reviewed it, and I'll drop a link to that in the description, but in short, I think he did a splendid job. However, not everyone felt that way. So in this video, I'm going to be reacting to negative reviews of this book on Audible and Amazon. This type of video is always fun to do because these people do sometimes raise good points, but other times they're a little ridiculous maybe. I still think it's really fun to sort of test their logic. Since you guys occasionally do that to my reviews, which I do appreciate, but let's get to this, shall we? Just so you guys know, there are affiliate links in the description, and if you buy anything through those links, like maybe this book, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and I want to make self-growth normal, because people shouldn't have to look this information up. It should just be mainstream knowledge. If you agree, then please make sure to smash that like button. Believe it or not, at the writing of this video, there are actually no 1-star reviews on Amazon, but I found a few 2 stars, and they were not that happy with Goggins, so let's get to that. Student 17 on Amazon said, physical training detail, not much more. The premise of the book is good, though more practical knowledge was expected. Did not expect details of every endurance race that David competed in. Okay, so I actually mentioned the opposite of this in my review. Believe me, I'm sure that he could have gone way more into detail of his races than he did, but this can sometimes turn readers or listeners off while checking out memoirs of athletes and artists of sorts. I found it a lot more difficult to pay attention to the more detailed descriptions of what happened in the competitions from books like Tom Daly's Coming Up for Air or Simone Biles' Courage to Soar. Anyone with a specialty, you really kind of just need to expect these details from a memoir. You just do, as you can bet that they included these details for anyone particularly interested, in this case Goggins, in ultramarathon or triathlon running, because I'm sure he kept that in mind. If it's not purely a mindset book, I personally did not find the amount of detail in this book offensive to any stretch of the word. Not that this person did, but also learned that the F word is his favorite word, appearing 185 times in the text in one form or another. Mother effer appeared 86 times. Yes, there is a clean version that is available instead. I didn't even know there was a clean version. I think the fact that student 17 took the time to note, let alone count and consider exactly how many times he uses each of these words tells me a lot more about student 17 than the book. Rather than sharing best practices, this seems like a platform to tout David's extreme endurance accomplishments, not much more. No, check out the whole thing, okay? If not the audio version, and hear for yourself his reprises of humility and self-awareness. By the end of every chapter or two, I at least did not get the impression that this guy is using this book as a platform for that. Mircea Husar on Amazon said, self-promotion. David Goggins, promises that his book is no self-help book, but a wake-up call. Well, it is. Is what? A self-help book or a wake-up call? The book showcases his journey from the pit of abuse to the mountaintop of achievement. I think his last book did that. This one was more of an extension of that, geared toward unshackling the mind of the reader-listener and helping the reader-listener win the war within. It is based on his anger and never forget, never forgive attitude. Not everyone can tap into that. Most, if not all people, have anger they can tap into. I don't know where someone could get the opposite notion. Same goes for a never forget, never forgive attitude. This book is not for everyone. I prefer to let go and let God. What? God is in the saving business. Okay, that took a very religious turn. I don't really know what God being in the saving business has to do with this book at all. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of this when I mention that. But look, guys, you do not have to have the same personal beliefs as an author to get something out of their books. A solid example of this is particularly Robert Greene with his 48 Laws of Power, or a personal favorite of mine, 33 Strategies of War. I can almost guarantee you that Goggins has many close followers to him of faith who do not look at things like that in the same exact way he does, but they have gotten a lot of very useful information out of his content about channeling what upsets you into living a more productive and active lifestyle. And I personally see nothing wrong with that. Leonora Prince on Audible gave it 1 star and said, too much foul language. Ask me, of all the authors I've reviewed on this channel, and I've reviewed plenty, which one curses the most in his or her work. I promise you, David Goggins will top that list head above shoulders. I tried to get over the language, but almost got sick in nature. Sick in nature? Waste of money. What? Why? I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of person who will spend $500 on many different books just looking for that one piece of advice I can use to make myself $5,000. What an angry person trying to run from himself. You know who's trying to run from himself? The person who wrote this review. Prides himself on ugly. Look at this guy. He's sharp. Don't talk about David Goggins like that, please. Anonymous on Audible gave it 2 and said, wish David narrated his first book. Listened to the first 30 minutes and it's just been disappointing to have someone else be speaking David's words. Just not the same. Oh my gosh, he did not narrate his last book. Stay tuned and you'll find out what happened in just a second. I liked his first book because David narrated it and would stop the audiobook to explain things in his own words. Podcast style and free form which humanized it and didn't feel scripted. This is dramatically false.
Okay.
Here's what really happened. His last book was narrated by someone else, not him. It was an author named Adam Skolnick. Adam Skolnick and Goggins have a very pleasant and collaborative work relationship, and it most radiantly displays itself in Goggins' books. In both Can't Hurt Me and Never Finished, Skolnick narrates. But for people like me who really love Goggins' voice, it's not as if Goggins is not in these audio versions at all, because there are podcast style commentaries reflecting on each chapter at the end of each chapter. This is an incredibly innovative way to do an audiobook, and I really admired it about both of them. The way they did it in Never Finished was just out of this world amazing. Check out my review to see more details on how they did that. And by the way, for anyone who thinks this whole video is just nut-hugging Goggins, please know that I was very disappointed as well in them for not having Goggins narrate at least the majority of his own book for a second book in a row. It's not like Skolnick is bad or anything like that. I think he actually has a pretty decent voice for narrating audiobooks. I know that he has books of his own. I'm sure that he's narrated maybe the audio versions of them, but the type of content, it really begs for David Goggins' voice. Regardless, that is my take on these negative reviews of his new book. There's a link in the description to this book if you'd like to see those reviews and other reviews like them, maybe more positive reviews, or my review, that and all the other books that I mentioned in this video as well, if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.